Hello everybody, welcome to your holiday weather forecast. Happy Memorial Day everyone. My name is Mr. G, your meteorologist, and we're going to talk about that week you have upcoming here. I know we're going to have a shortened week for many of us, that includes myself. So let's talk about our week, and we're going to be looking at those storms out there across the country, as well as lots of warm weather and a little bit cooler in some areas as well. So let's jump right on into that weather forecast. Here is our current surface map and our radar overlaid, and we're going to be seeing those showers and storms out across the mid-Atlantic states. So Virginia and North Carolina, we're going to be seeing those showers and some thunderstorms from our tropical system out there, out over the Atlantic. We have our unnamed tropical depression slash area of low pressure out there, and that's going to be providing some rain showers. We're going to see showers and thunderstorms through the central and southern plains from Texas up into Oklahoma and Kansas. We're seeing those showers and thunderstorms out there, as well as some showers and storms way up in the northern plains and the upper Mississippi River Valley. So Wisconsin, Minnesota as well. We can see some showers and some thunderstorms out there. And we also have some thunderstorms over the Northern Rockies along the west coast. Nice weather down across the southwest. We might see a random shower or thunderstorm through parts of New Mexico this afternoon. So let's talk about those temperatures that we're currently seeing. Very nice day out there across the country. Very warm across the plains and the upper Midwest. We're looking at those temperatures in the 80s through the Midwest as well. And we're seeing those temperatures a little bit cooler in the mid-Atlantic, and that's due to that cloud cover and those rain showers off of the ocean. A nice day in the Northeast. We're going to be seeing those temperatures in the 80s. We're going to be seeing the 80s along the Gulf Coast and those 90s in the desert Southwest. And we're seeing 70s, 80s, and 60s right along the coast of the Pacific Northwest. So a beautiful day temperature-wise across the country. Nothing too cool, nothing too warm, so it's not extreme. We are looking at some dew points and some higher moisture across the central plains, from the northern plains and the Canadian border down to the Gulf of Mexico and the Mexican border. We're seeing those higher dew points, higher humidities there in the 60s and upper 50s, and that's where we're going to be seeing those showers and thunderstorms through this week. And again, across the southeast and the mid-Atlantic, due to our area of low pressure, we're seeing those showers and thunderstorms. So we're, of course, have higher humidities in those areas. Humidity is going to be very low across the Northeast, as we've had a persistent northwesterly flow off the landmass. So low humidities over New England and the Northeast. So it's going to be very comfortable temperatures in the morning and overnight hours, and kind of warm in the afternoons, but we're going to see those temperatures spread out a lot between night and day due to those lower humidities. Beautiful weather on the west coast, relatively dry across the southwest, as typical for the deserts, and comfortable across the northwest and the northern Rockies. So beautiful weather across the western United States. Here is that thunderstorm forecast for this afternoon, and thunderstorms throughout the entire plain state. So from the northern plains and the Canadian border all the way down to Mexico and the Gulf of Mexico, we're going to be seeing the chance for showers and thunderstorms with some isolated severe weather. And those severe thunderstorms will also extend into northern California, Oregon, Idaho, parts of northern Nevada, and Montana and Wyoming as well. We could see some thunderstorms this afternoon with some embedded severe storms as well. And our primary threats with severe today is going to be gusty winds and large hail. I'm not looking for a tornado event today, but large hail and gusty winds are going to be a threat, especially down here in Texas, and then across the northern plains as well. We could see some severe storms that could produce some hail and some damaging winds. So here is a look at our lightning strikes right now. This is where we're seeing thunderstorms down here across Texas, and we're seeing thunderstorms into western Minnesota, North Dakota, as well as northeastern North Dakota. We're seeing a cluster of thunderstorms. So we are seeing some thunderstorms out there at this time across the southern plains, and again in the northern plains we can see some thunderstorms invade the Twin Cities later this afternoon, and especially tomorrow we can see that risk for some thunderstorms across the upper Midwest. And then as far as our severe weather outlook for this afternoon, we see the possibility of severe thunderstorms here across the northern plains. So if you're in North and South Dakota, extreme western Minnesota, and down through Nebraska and parts of Kansas and eastern Colorado, we could deal with the marginal risk of severe thunderstorms. But here across central into parts of central Nebraska is where we can see our slight risk for severe thunderstorms. So we do have a slightly higher risk of seeing severe weather in those regions. And our primary threat, again, is going to be damaging winds and some hail. So I'm not expecting any heavy rainfall with these thunderstorms. We do have the potential for some severe down here across the southern tip of Texas. And I think down there we have a higher risk for heavy rainfall being the potential with that severe weather threat down across the southern tip of Texas. And that includes the cities of Del Rio and Laredo. So we're going to be seeing that, as well as San Antonio. You could pick up some of that marginal risk of severe thunderstorms this afternoon. And as we look at your Tuesday, we're going to see that severe risk, a marginal risk for severe weather will cover include the Twin Cities. So Minneapolis and St. Paul, we have a deal to see some severe weather potentially over our region tomorrow, and we're going to be seeing the potential for severe weather across the western plains. So we're talking about Nebraska, western Kansas, the Oklahoma Panhandle, extreme northern Texas, eastern Colorado, and the northeastern tip of New Mexico. We can see the potential for some severe weather. And those primary threats are going to be damaging winds and some large hail. So some hail producing tornadoes. And then as we move into your Wednesday, we see that severe weather threat primarily across the western plains, where we can see the potential for some severe thunderstorms with damaging wind, large hail, and an isolated tornado could also be possible on Wednesday, as we have a frontal system that's going to be moving out of the Rockies and into the plain states. So that's we're going to see that possibility of that severe thunderstorm threat across the central plains. And here is a look at our forecast temperatures for today. And we're looking at those 70s and 80s all the way up into the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes and the northern plains. Nice weather across the Northeast, 80s, so lots of 70s and 80s area wide across the entire country today. We may see a little bit cooler here across the mid-Atlantic because of our storm system and that rainfall. So anywhere we see some persistent cloud cover and some showers are going to be a little bit cooler overall. But for the most part, those temperatures are going to be in the 70s and 80s across the country from north to south and east to west. Again, much more of the same tomorrow as we see temperatures a little bit warmer across the upper Midwest and into the Great Lakes as we see high pressure building in, and we do have an advancing cold front coming out of the Rockies into the plain states for your day tomorrow. So we're going to be seeing that increased risk for thunderstorms across many areas of the Midwest and the plains as we head into your Wednesday. Here is our wet pattern that's going to linger across the mid-Atlantic states as we move into the middle part of the week. And here we are with that area flow pressure on the mid-Atlantic, so North Carolina and Virginia primarily is going to see that heavy rainfall coming off of the Atlantic, and we're going to see some scattered showers through parts of the Appalachians and more showers and storms across the southeast of Georgia and into northern Florida. So we're going to be seeing that continue through the week. And here's a look at some of those cooler temperatures we're going to see across the mid-Atlantic as well, as we see those temperatures in the upper 60s to lower 70s, a little bit below average because of cloud cover and rain showers in the area. And we're going to see it, even though it's cloudy and damp, it's not going to be that much in for of rainfall amounts. We're looking about generally anywhere from a tenth to about a half inch of rain. Some areas along the Appalachian Mountain Range, especially if you are east of the Appalachian in the foothills, you might pick up 2 to 3 inches of rain, maybe like along Roanoke. If you're along the leeward side of the Appalachians, you might pick up some heavier rainfall amounts or substantial rainfall amounts that might cause some issues with flash flooding. But for the most part, generally a tenth to a half an inch across the mid-Atlantic states and parts of the southeast. And then as we move into, we talk about this afternoon and that severe threat and those thunderstorms that we're going to be seeing down across Texas and into Oklahoma. And we're going to see our severe threat here across the upper Midwest and the high plains, where our primary threat is going to be damaging winds. So we're going to see damaging winds and some hail as we have this developing area of low pressure. We see our warm front coming up across the Midwest, and that's going to slide to the north and east. So we're going to see temperatures warm across the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes as we head into your Wednesday and the latter part of our work week. And then tomorrow again, we're going to see that area of low pressure side a little bit to the south, where we pick up a dry line across New Mexico. So that's going to cause us to have some dry line thunderstorms down across the southern plains. That is going to be a great treat for the storm chasers, as these these elevated thunderstorms tend to provide great visuals of what the atmosphere is doing, great cloud formation. So these storms produce very little rainfall, but they do create splendid cloud displays and lightning, and lots of lightning, and maybe some you can see some of the features like the rear downdraft, outflow. Maybe if you see a tornado, you'll see elevated tornadoes, nice long, beautiful rope tornadoes or stovepipe tornadoes. Very photogenic environment as well. So I look forward to seeing videos or images of the severe weather that could take place out in that region. And here we are to talk about those rainfall estimations that we are expecting. Not a whole lot as far as heavier rain. We could see a heavier rainfall through parts of the Midwest and along the Mississippi River Valley areas. We could see 1 to 2 inches of rain in some locations. But for the most part, generally an inch or less of rainfall across the northern plains, the central plains, and even back inward toward the Rockies. So if you're in Nevada, maybe Northern California, in the Sierra Nevada, as well as through parts of Oregon, Washington, and Montana, and Wyoming, we can see about generally a ½ inch of rain or less with some of those thunderstorms. Remember, this is not going to be for everybody. These storms will be widely scattered and isolated. So not everybody most people won't see any rainfall or even see a thunderstorm. So that's kind of how it works. In the summer, it's hit and miss, and it just depends on where you are at any given time. Anything can happen, so be ready. So here's what we're going to be seeing in our upper level pattern, as we have a nice ridge across the eastern half of the United States, which is going to make things nice and warm over the Great Lakes and the Midwest. We have troughing out to the west and our area of low pressure over the mid-Atlantic. So it's going to be a little bit cooler than average here over the Carolinas, as well as Virginia and the southeast. So a little bit cooler, and a little bit cooler over parts of the west coast in California as well. But for the most part, the weather is going to be relatively dry, with the exception of some isolated thunderstorms across the country. Anybody is susceptible to a thunderstorm in the summer months. So as we head into the month of June, getting ready for the summer, and that is a look at that. But let's talk about what we're going to be seeing as far as highs through the middle part of the week. Look at all of these upper 80s. We're going to see some 70s across the Rockies. So beautiful weather as far as the temperature is concerned. Not too bad. Upper 80s, some lower 90s in the Northeast and the Great Lakes. So very nice day and very nice week ahead. Relatively dry for most folks. Just watch out for those widely scattered and isolated thunderstorms across the Midwest primarily, and the northern plains. But it's going to be dry in the Northeast. Don't expect any rainfall, and I don't expect much rainfall across the southern deserts and the immediate west coast. But if you're in the mountains east of the Cascades and the Northern Rockies, watch out for those random thunderstorms. And remember, some of those thunderstorms can be dry, so lightning could cause fires in the lower elevations of the mountains and some of the valleys and caves and passes. So we will watch for an elevated fire danger this week as well across the Rockies and the eastern Cascade Mountains, as we deal with some of those dry thunderstorms as well. And we could see some of those thunderstorms on Thursday across the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes. Well, not the Great Lakes. The Great Lakes will be dry, but the upper Midwest. So if you're in Illinois, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Nebraska, North and South Dakota, Wyoming, and Montana, which includes the states of Idaho, Eastern Washington, Eastern Oregon, parts of Northern Nevada, Utah, and Colorado. Those isolated and severe thunderstorms are going to be a big issue for some of you folks. My name is Mr. G. That is your rest of Memorial Day weather forecast, as well as a look into the rest of your work week. I may not have a video tomorrow as my summer classes start tomorrow, and it's the first day of class, so I may not have time to do a video. So I tried to give you a little bit outlook into the week ahead, and if I can do a video, we will have one, but if not, I'll be back here on Wednesday with the video for you guys, all right? Have a good night and a good weekend, or the rest of your week, and have a good week as you go to work. And most of you are out of school now, or are going to be soon out of school. So have a good one. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.